You need a job.
No, I don't want a job.
Well, I know.
It's so much work.
This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show. You may have second thoughts after this show, but don't drink the faucet. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, hi, my name is Peter. Yeah, I want. Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show. Peter G Show. Divorced dad, single dad. Divorced dad, single dad. Peter G Show.
That's right, it's showtime Wednesday. Getting my butterfingers warmed up. I swear, you think you have a rhythm going. How the hell is everybody? It is Wednesday, middle of April. Hopefully everybody paid their taxes. You know, it's really weird because there's so much crap going on in the world right now. Used to be when like April 15th was going on, every news station was going to the post office, looking at people putting their taxes in the mail and talking to them. It's like, you got your taxes in on time? It's like, I don't see any of that anymore because we are buried in crap that's going on. I don't know if you've seen anything. I just don't. They don't even mention it. It's like, the hell with that. We're drowning. But nonetheless, I make sure I'm here every Wednesday like clockwork. Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast, God willing. And we're right here, bringing you entertainment with a purpose. Tonight, got a great show for you tonight. Tonight's one of those kind of good for you shows. Your health. Your health. Tonight, I have naturopathic Dr. Randi Shannon on this show out of Miami. She deals with the root of problems. Western medicine's one thing, but this kind of stuff I truly believe in. And she's into like, and like Chinese medicine, I guess, because I used to see that too, the fingernails, tongues, your face, all kinds of that stuff that you go, it's crazy talk. I beg to differ. And you're going to find out why tonight. So make sure go get your glass of wine, your popcorn, get settled in because she's going to be here in just a few minutes, and you're not going to want to miss this because she's a plethora of information, and I can guarantee that. Also want to remind you, next week, as always, you're in for another real treat. Wednesday, April 24th, it's all me. Last show of the month, I'm going to start blowing off steam. This is when I collect all the things that I want to bitch about, and you're invited to join in. I might open up the phone lines, you'll be able to call. But I take all the current events that really tick me off, and I just voice my opinion. If I'm wrong or you feel I'm wrong, you're more than welcome to call up and correct me or help me to understand. But most of the times, nobody does. They just call me names after the shows. Just call it and just that's it. Name calling, have nothing to back it up with. But I really would love those people to call. I keep saying that, but it's like falling on deaf ears. But either way, and for those of you who might agree with what I have to say, I might actually know what the hell I'm talking about. I work hard at it. I hope I bring you much shed light on the situations, the things that you just may not know. That's next week, Wednesday, April 24th, right here. Last show of the month. All me, just you and me, talking about stuff, the days that we are living in right now. So you're not going to want to miss that too. And most importantly, I'm going to ask you people, I love you guys for the people that take the time out to watch the show, listen to the show on podcast, or visually spend the time and watch the shows. But please, 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 YouTube. Oh, I just said their name. But these guys are killing me, all right? But I want you to go subscribe to the Peter G Show channel. Please. Got to beat them at their own game. TikTok, between them and TikTok, I don't know which one is worse, but they are censoring the hell out of me. And, you know, even if they let me do the shows, they just keep everybody from knowing that they're watching. They just don't let, you know, it amazes me how you do something and get thousands and thousands of things, and all of a sudden you do something else that they don't like, and there's one viewer. So please subscribe, all right? Do me that. Do me a solid. I'm trying to give you the best I can. Real quick before we get on to the main attraction here. Last week while we were doing this show, I guess O.J. Simpson passed away. And I had always hoped, I never knew he'd pass away at only 76, you know, but that goes to show you, you just don't know, you know, life is short. But he passed away of prostate cancer, and whether you loved him or hate him, I mean, he used to be so well loved, but that was up until he decided to do what he did and get away with it, if that's what you believe. But I always had hoped on his deathbed that he would confess. And I guess we'll never know, because I don't think he did. I've heard rumors that he said a few things to his family, but who knows, you know, who knows? It'll all come out one way or another. One day we'll all find out. But O.J. Simpson passed away at 76 years old. Always been under the gun for being accused of, but not being, you know, accused of. Not he got away with the crime, allegedly, with Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman, and that was just a sad thing. We were all so much younger back then. And lastly, I'm just seeing Dubai. Anybody, you know, Dubai is like a desert. You know, it's on the other side of the world. Anybody catch that they're getting flooded right now? They're flooding, like, and they can't handle it. It's a desert. It's kind of like California. We can take rain, but we can only take so much rain. It can't handle it. Not like other parts of the country where it rains all the time on and off. Florida rains, downpours for, you know, torrential downpour. 15 minutes later, you can't even tell it rained. It just evaporates. It's crazy. But Dubai's they've been cloud seeding. They've been going up in there and doing chemtrails, just like they do over here, because I see it on Sundays. Like this pattern, looks like waffles of lines across the sky. And I never used to believe it, but now I do believe it, because we've been getting a good bit of rain, more than we normally get, which is good, but I don't like the way they're doing it. Cloud seeding. So they clearly admit it. It was on the news now, the Dubai over there, they have a whole weather system, you know, division. And when they think the cumulus clouds, you have to have these certain clouds to come in. They get their planes up in the air and they start filling them full of chemicals to make it rain. And boy, did it. They got more than what they asked for. Don't screw with Mother Nature. I mean, flooding, destroying buildings, and just chaos, havoc. So you got what you wished for. But just in case you didn't know, again, because it's happening over here, and who knows what else the hell they're spraying into the airs over here and not telling us. At least Dubai kind of openly says, yeah, we're doing it. Over here, you don't hear nothing. It's all hush-hush. We're breathing in all that aluminum and all that metal chemicals that they're putting into us. And we'll never know until we get sick one day. And even then, you won't even know, because it'll just be under the word cancer or something like that. But what do I know? Crazy Peter and his conspiracy stories. I'll tell you what. We're going to be bringing up Dr. Randi Shannon here in just a minute. But first, I want to make sure we hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. So don't go anywhere. Be right back.
Hello, I'm Tyrone Thompson of CleanStarProducts.com. This is DX1 Driver in the news, and here's what our friends have to say.
So I'm here to recap on the DX1 I've used. I put it in the oil and I put it in the gas. While I'm using it just for about 3 tanks. Cleaned everything out. I got every ounce of power back in my truck.
When Jared's truck was new, it had a lot of power. Then over time, it began to slow down. He got it all back with our DX1 driver program.
Something you got to see for yourself. It's a great product. It's affordable, and it blows all the other additives and esters out of the water.
DX1 driver is the finest oil in the world from a California environmental company. It goes into the fuel system and the oil. It's the only green grade product qualified for the carbon credits program, giving you better fuel mileage, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. So join the fuel savings revolution today. Go to cleanstarproducts.com/shop.
That's right, folks. Clean Star Products. All I can tell you is they actually have a product that works. I have a high mileage Ford pickup truck that I love. Owned it since its birth, but it's getting up there on age, and I've used this product in this. It's a gas guzzler. Let's face it, it's a V8. It's a big truck, but I noticed within the third full tank of running this stuff that I didn't have to step on the pedal as hard to get it to go like I normally did. And I know how this thing breathed, but they have something that works. It passes all the California emissions and everything. You're going to save up to 10% in fuel economy. Plus, it cleans out everything in your engine. You add one of these small bottles right here. I got one, happen to have one. Add this into your crankcase. When you do an oil change, it lasts the whole oil change. You just leave it in there till you change the oil again. Then every time you fill up your tank, you put one of these little bitty bottles into the tank to let it mix in with that. And that's it. And after a while, it just starts, it's like take care of your body. Take care of your body and your body will take care of you. Same thing. You're just giving it some extra oomph and letting it run as efficient as possible by getting all that gunk and carbons and all that kind of stuff. If you want more information on Clean Star Products, please go to www.cleanstarproducts.com. There's a phone number there. You can call them personally. They'll answer all of your questions. And after that, should you decide you want to order, mention that you saw it on the Peter G Show, please. They will give you 5 bottles. Whoops, I got to get my numbers together. 5 bottles for the price of 4. Okay? Just mention you saw it on the Peter G Show after you talk to Tyrone Thompson or whoever answers the phone. I'm telling you, they're really proud of what they do because they actually have something that works. And you'll receive 5 bottles for the price of 4. Just mention that you saw it on the Peter G Show. Remember, they know what I do and they still sponsor me, so God bless them. You got a product that works too, and it makes sense to say, to save money. There's no doubt about that. In fuel, I just paid $5.20 a gallon for a 30-gallon tank yesterday at Costco, which is the most reasonably priced gasoline around in California. $5.20 a gallon times 28 gallons. I didn't need all 30 gallons. It adds up. They're $150 for gas. So do it. Save some money. All right, let's take a drink real quick because I got Dr. Randi Shannon sitting in the wings, anxiously awaiting for the questions I am going to propose to her. So salute. Woo! Smooth. All right. I've been waiting. We've been talking for months, actually, since before the first of the year, on and off. And I finally got her on the show. We've managed to connect and get this together. And Dr. Randi Shannon's a naturopathic doctor, and she specializes in, natural medicines. This has been around a lot longer than medicine itself, and this is her thing. And there's a lot of doctors like this. If you've watched this show, I've had a small handful on the show, and I will continue because I believe in this stuff, and I think they have a plethora of information to bring on. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, from the other side of the country, staying up late just for all of us, Dr. Randi Shannon. How are you?
Hello. Good evening, and hi to your audience. You are hilarious, Peter. This is just fantastic. I'm in the back room just cracking up at so many things that you were saying, taking notes actually.
Well, thank you. I will tell my creditors that I'm hilarious.
Yeah. That's great.
Okay, so I'm glad that we finally got to get together and to bring you on, because I find that even with the naturopath doctors and things like that, everybody's got a different approach, even though it's to maintain the same thing. But everybody's got their own style, I guess, and different things that they're stronger on and things like that. Why don't you take a minute and just introduce yourself real quick and just a brief synopsis and tell everybody like who you are, where you're at, how long you've been doing what you're doing, and why you're doing what you're doing.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I am a naturopathic doctor and I am in Miami, Florida. However, my clientele is all over the world. I'm in about 18 different countries at this point. And I look at the face, the fingernails, the tongue, other marks of concern on the body, and I can see what's going on in the organs of the body. And this is 5,000-year-old original medicine. There's organizations out there that love to call what I do or anyone in the holistic field alternative. But in fact, the truth is we've been around since the dawn of time, this type of holistic modality and other healing modalities. And the medical system that we know today it only really started in about 1915. And in fact, I did a show several weeks ago with a gentleman who was at one of the original medical schools that did do naturopathic remedies, those remedies that were stolen. And then I'll tell you how they twist that a little bit and turn that into a prescription. But they finally converted his school over fully in the 1950s. So, it took them a while to get it all rolled out. But once they did, they called what we do quackery, and then they labeled the doctors quacks. So it's just like, if anybody wonders where that came from, that's where it was. There was big dollars that were demonizing the holistic world so that they could sell the medical system that you know today. And it's unfortunate because if you ask a medical doctor, how many hours of nutritional studies do you have? And they might say something like, well, an hour, maybe less. So I've been doing this for many years. I've been in the holistic world. I started out somewhere around 19 or 20 years of age. I cut my teeth kind of as a CNA, a certified nursing assistant. So I had already started at a young age while I was in college and went to school and had already started to help take care of people. And, life took me other directions. And I eventually came back to the holistic world because it was a huge passion of mine. And I went back to school, became a naturopathic doctor, and then dove deep, worked with trauma ER doctors, doctors of veterinary medicine, holistic chefs, acupuncturists. I've worked with all of them and really honed in on my skill, my trade that I'm an expert at. And I'm one of the rarest ones in this country, if not around the world, because I bring it down to terms that everyone can understand.
Wow. I look, real quick little example, acid reflux. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I started getting that.
Okay.
And so I went to a regular doctor and they said, here, omeprazole or whatever it's called.
Okay.
It's a prescription medicine to keep their acid reflux down. Eventually I found out through somebody similar to you, or even, I don't know if it was, I think it was, either way, apple cider vinegar with the mother, like Bragg's or whatever it was. They said, if you take a teaspoon of this, I think it was like TikTok. It was like this, health guy. And I started doing that and I put the medicine away. And then I went back to my doctor and I said, he goes, how's that working out? I go, I don't want to be on this stuff long-term. And he goes, but I said, listen, I found this apple cider vinegar that I've been taking every morning, diluted in water, and I don't have this problem. And he just looked at me. He goes, okay, if it works for you, I guess. I mean, he wouldn't confirm it or anything like that.
They don't understand. So when your stomach goes, okay, it's supposed to be a 1.2 to a 1.3 pH. That's very, very acidic. It's the only bag in the entire body that's supposed to be that acidic. So when you get acid reflux like you had, you know what a simple fix is. I was at a networking event one night. There was several hundred people. It was a builder's event. I'm not a builder, but they have needs for doctors. Guess what? So I showed up. I knew there was a bunch of builders that would need me. Well, there was somebody sitting at our table. There was about 8 people per table. And this guy started just belching and hiccuping uncontrollably. So I reached over, I was knee deep in a conversation over here. I reached over, handed him the salt shaker, and I said, put some salt on there. And he took just a teeny bit. And I said, no, put some salt on. So he took a nice dose of the salt, and it was like that, done. You don't even need apple cider vinegar. Faster is throwing acid on the fire, and it takes literally 1 second, 2 seconds. Worst I've ever seen, 15, 18 seconds, and it's gone. When that's supposed to be acidic, you throw more acid on the fire and create a bonfire in there. Okay. The medical community says, go get Tums and take alkaline. That'll give you a Band-Aid, but that is the wrong way. You're going to suffer it again and again and again. You have to get that bag acidic and keep it that way. How do we break down our food? We have to have very acidic stomach to break that down. If you throw in alkaline, like these Kangen water machines, or people drinking baking soda water, which is 8.4 pH, that's all wrong. There's so much misinformation out there. What I just told you is one of the best remedies.
Yeah, look, I mean, that was just, again, just an example of like this simple little thing, because it wasn't even acid reflux. It's like I would swallow and it felt like rocks going down my esophagus, like a soft piece of bread. Mm-hmm. And I'm, getting older is a bitch. Let's face it. I mean, little things are, we're not bulletproof anymore. But yet, this one really easy, weird, it's just maintenance for me now. Is to avoid getting to that point to where I need the emergency, or God, I wish I had taken this pill. And I just didn't want to take these pills, but there's so many of these things that that of to affect everything in the body, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask you earlier, but you kind of touched on it. It's like, out of all the directions you could have gone, what made you choose this and stick to this? I mean,
it's funny because one side of me loves the law so much, and I love fighting for our fellow man. Not the big guys, not the, necessarily the pigs at the trough. I love fighting for the little guy who needs the helping hand. And I was very close to going the law way. And I thought maybe I would be, great at litigation and getting in and just really fighting. And then I decided, no, it doesn't feel good. I really like happy. I like feeling good every day and not being in World War III. So I opted for this. It's a huge love and passion of mine. And I'm very good at what I do. And when you love what you do, and you're saving life or helping to save life, I don't cure, and I never claim a cure. So nobody could ever take me down for claiming a cure. What I do is give the body what it needs, and the brain recognizes that, and it goes to work, and it is the part that goes and does the healing. It's not me. I just have the knowledge of the organs, and I have the knowledge of what those organs need. And I put that together, and people get better from everything.
See, because again, if you go to school to be a doctor for Western medicine, you're going to go and they have places for you to study. Where does one that wants to get into it? I mean, because you're talking ancient China, the fingernails and the tongue. I've been seeing that from Chinese, medical people. You go to San Francisco into these little shops back in the day or whatever. Mm-hmm. But where does one like you to get this kind of knowledge? I mean, is there literally schools for this, or do you have to?
I teach it. I teach a course.
But where did you learn?
Where did I learn? Well, first of all, I went to School of Naturopathy. So they touched on it, but they did not fully get into it. And when I did my clinicals and I started to use that on people, they thought it was kind of funny. You want a picture of my tongue? You want a picture of, my face, my fingernails? And I said, yeah. And other things that might be growing on your body. And, I would give them kind of a list of things I was looking for. If it was there, take a picture. And, but that's about as far as school went. And so then I had to jump into the field and work with individuals. And ultimately, I went and worked for an acupuncturist who specialized in it. He has since retired. He retired probably 10 years ago, easy. And he's the one who took it to that next level for me. And it's still, I teach it to my students now. I have another class coming up. I want to say it's June 10th, but it's at my website. People can find it and the description. And I teach it in terms that people can understand. All of these schools, like if you go over into any of the Asian countries, you're going to have to learn it in their terms, and then you're going to have to translate that. Meaning, if you go to an acupuncturist now, they'll look at your tongue and say, "Oh, you have heat. It's hot." That means nothing to anybody. They know what to do because they're going to stick in some needles, etc. But I also have never met an acupuncturist, and even that gentleman, sadly, that I worked with, his clients never fully got better. In acupuncture, which I love, they would come and have to come the next week and the next week. And the only thing that they gave at the time, and I think it's the same with most of them today, is they only gave Chinese herbals. And so herbals alone, you're missing the boat big time, because the body needs every day, this is essential, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 3 essential fatty acids, 12 amino acids. And if we don't get those, even if you're a couch potato, you still need it. If you're athletic in any way, shape, or form, and as you can imagine, I'm a little bit of an A-type personality. I'm, busy all day long, moving, go to the gym, go outdoors, travel, do things. You have to replenish what you're using up. I'm not sitting on the couch with the remote all the time. I am like moving. I don't even own a TV. So when you're like that, you have to replenish that. So that 60, do it again. Okay. If you're a 200-pound man, I'm a 115-pound woman. If you're a 200-pound man, you've got to double what I need. So there's requirements by the body. This is a 12-cylinder Ferrari. Okay. I don't want to be puttering around on 2 or 3 cylinders.
I get it. But let me ask you this though, because I also, through talking to people, you say you need how many minerals and
60 are essential.
Okay, and vitamins or whatever, is that the same thing?
Essential.
16.
You can have more,
right?
But and I take more, but yeah.
Okay, but supplements, like let's say, I say, okay, I'm going to the store and you just load up on supplements. You don't know what you're lacking or what you need unless you get analyzed or diagnosed, or because you don't want to take too much of something either, right?
You want something that's water soluble, that your body will give up the excess of what it doesn't want. But there's also certain minerals that the body will store up for later use. So it will call on that. Your body decides. You don't need to decide. And the brain, let's take blood work. Let's say you go get a blood test tomorrow. Yeah. Blood tests are great for the moment, but if you took if you took the multivitamin that I take, which is super, it's a sledgehammer. Okay. It's not full of synthetics. It's very clean, very pure, no fillers, not out of China, very, very clean. If you take that and then you go get the blood work, they might say, well, you don't need any selenium. You've got that in here. But if I go to the gym and I sweat it all out, guess what? I do need it. It's an essential. So again, you need it every day. So even if your blood work says, well, you don't need this or you don't need this, that's just because it's showing up that day. You might have taken something that had it. And so it's showing that you have it, but you might really be void of it 6 other days of the week.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, everybody has different eating habits. So therefore, a lot of times, like, they were telling me, you're my doctor, he's constantly on my ass about cholesterol, which I'm told you need cholesterol. The brain needs cholesterol, and Western medicine doctors, they want it real low, and that's too low. But, so I started eating more broccoli and things like that for fiber. They says, I want you, because I did not want to get on a cholesterol medicine. But some people will have better eating habits that take in these vitamins more naturally, so you'll have more of it than other people, as I guess what I'm saying. And is it not like, sometimes taking too much of something isn't that great for you?
Your body's going to slough it off. Your body's going to get rid of it. And as far as cholesterol goes, okay, this is my opinion and my experience, and I've not been wrong yet. Okay. So on cholesterol, we have to have cholesterol. So here's your brain, your whole brain. 75% of that is made of the myelin sheath. 100% of that myelin sheath is cholesterol. So if you take that drug, you are shutting off 75% of your brain. So if you look at the dementias, they used to be 2, 3, 4. Doctors would travel around the world to go look at that, that crazy dementia patient. Now they're everywhere. Now there's 12, 13, 14 different types of dementias. Why? Because of those cholesterol pills, them taking everybody off, and now the brain is getting shut down. But here is more. Your reproductive system, men and women, is made up of 95% cholesterol. The social media influencers out there with millions of viewers, social media has never been something that I pushed. I actually tried to stay off camera for years. Unfortunately, it's the way it is. So now, I've embraced it.
Welcome to my show.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So those social media influencers don't have my education or my background or the experience of who I've worked with. So they have no clue what they're talking about. They make millions of dollars pushing things, but they don't understand why. The reproductive system itself is made up of 95% cholesterol. So if you take that pill, your downstairs is going to shut off.
Really?
Our body as a whole is made up of about 20% cholesterol. You take that pill and you've shut down about 20% of your body's essential nutrients.
There's my point, because the last thing in the world, I don't need my downstairs shutting off.
Exactly. Who wants that? Nobody.
No, nobody. So I try to avoid this stuff. I think I've gotten more conscious of this stuff because, again, as we get older, it becomes more more essential to be better because you're losing things. Let's face it. I took some prednisone not too long ago. Mm-hmm. And we were trying something, and he says, I want you to just try this. And when I talked to him again, he goes, well, how did it go? I go, it didn't fix what we're trying to fix. I said, but I definitely felt a lot better when I was going for my hikes. And he just looked at me through his arm in it, because it's an anti-inflammatory. Inflammation is as you get older, I think it becomes more prevalent and in your body, and that's, to me, it's my number one enemy.
But it's because you're malnourished of the right things. It's not natural, and you're proving it. Okay, so I'm 56 years of age, and I take the appropriate nutrients that I need to not have things like inflammation. I have zero. I'm on no medications. My hair is naturally blonde. I do not color my hair. I don't know a woman my age that doesn't color their hair or have long, thick hair that they're not doing something to. Why is mine staying the appropriate color? It's because I'm getting those nutrients every single day in abundance. Gray hair, if I have 8, 9, 10-year-olds coming to me with gray hair, is it an old age issue?
I thought it was.
Yeah, everybody does. It's not. And I have clients coming to me that are kids with gray hair. It's actually a sign of the heart.
Well, life is stressful nowadays.
Yeah. And, their diet is mainly their problem, their issue. So let's go back to cholesterol. Cholesterol we get it from the runny yolk of the egg. People cook the eggs in oils. You don't want oils. No oils whatsoever. I went on Sean Hannity radio and talked about this, and the Twitter feed lit up because people could not understand that. Now, I like coconut oil, but you have to whack the coconut and extract the coconut in the next hour. Okay, if you let it go long periods, it goes bad, it's oxidized, and it causes free radical damage in the body. Here's a visual. Take a bite out of an apple. Set it on the counter now for the next 30 minutes. What's it starting to do?
It gets brown, it oxidizes.
So now imagine that 3 months from now.
It's dead.
Some people, 3 years from now. Think about their oils sitting in their house. So nobody would eat that apple. Nobody should be eating the oils that are older than an hour.
Let me now, because I don't want to get all over the map, but you're talking about oils. And olive oils are so misleading. But let's say you spend the time and you get a good olive oil, a real pure olive oil that's done at the same place, all the same olives. What do you feel about olive oil for the body?
Okay, I don't put any oils on, even if I used an essential oil. I don't use any carrier oils at all because most all of them are rotten and rancid in the bottle, and they're pumped full of something that takes away that rotten rancid odor. So people are unaware of it. But if you put it on the skin, it's going to absorb in. Your skin is the largest organ on your body. You're going to be pulling that rotten rancid oil in. It slows down the blood, it thickens up the blood, and in my opinion, in my experience, it is probably the reason why heart disease and anything cardiovascular is the number one cause of death in this country and has been for a long time.
So you think even cooking, I mean, I'm saying like, let's say you get a imported olive oil directly from Greece that is made there, same, olives processed there, not the way they mix and everything says, virgin olive oil. It's so misleading. But let's say you get a good olive oil, I mean, to cook with it for things. So you don't believe in that either?
If you look at that oil in a bottle,
yeah,
there's going to be an air gap between that and the lid.
Yeah.
It's oxidizing the whole entire time. It's like having the apple on the counter turning brown. It's rotting in the bottle. It's already rotted in the bottle.
So now I'm going to have to get my olives and stomp them myself and just use it.
Correct. Yeah. You have to switch over. If you look at our grandparents or great grandparents and their grandparents, they typically lived longer because they were using lard when they cooked. They were using tallow, which is the fatty tissue basically of the cow. They used butters, real butters. Those things don't kill us.
Yeah. Back then, if you go back to your parents and or grandparents, I mean, things weren't as processed. It was just a different time period where you either had fresher or you had nothing. I mean,
that's right.
Let me real quick. You got a fan over here. It says much love from Mr. Positive. So,
Alex E. Alex Eaton.
Yeah, he's got good taste. There you go. All right, it's just I wanted to put that in because I've been looking at it for a few minutes, and I said, let me give him a plug for your fan club. But okay, so I want to because again, there's so many things I could talk to you for hours, and probably will, but we'll see how it goes. The tongue. You were talking about the tongue. Start
Yes.
with the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
I got a picture I took off of one of your places, and I'm going to put it up here real quick. Sorry, it's a little sideways, but I wanted a big picture so people can see. Now, I've had that in the past. See how the tongue is ripply around the edges?
Yes.
It has come and gone with me through my years. I don't know why. I thought maybe because I was stressed or grinding my teeth or something. But what do you attribute that to?
I never really fully get into it because in a person, I like to do the full analysis and look at it all. But I will say
All right,
this.
fair enough.
Being wavy is not okay. So the tongue is enlarged and it is pushing into the teeth. And those waves are actually a perfect impression for your dentist because that's where all your teeth are. So it's shoving into your teeth. It's too big. There is inflammation in the body for sure.
Yeah.
And that is part of one of your systems gone awry. And if you notice here, there's discoloration on the tongue and there's spottiness, there's cracking. The tongue should be very smooth, like a baby skin, no cracks, no crevices, no spottiness. It should be like a perfect tongue and it should fit in there. This one is also, enlarged. It's too big for the mouth. That's why it's shoving into those teeth. And once somebody books with me and goes on my protocols, that settles down, way down.
Really?
Yeah. All those things go away. Typically, that one there might take 6 to 8 months and he'd be back on track with pretty much everything.
I just remember that I haven't had that in a long time, but just in once in a while, it would be like that after I'd wake up like in the mornings or something like that. And I just thought I was locking my, just grinding in my sleep or something from who knows, what was going on in my head because I don't want to go there. It's dark in there.
Yeah,
but
that would not cause the grinding of the
no.
teeth. No. But, that for sure, that person had a lymphatic issue. They had a hormonal issue. They had a digestive issue. All those things showed there and more.
Wow. Okay. Because I only because it rung a bell. That happened to be a picture that you had. Now, I guess there was other signs on that tongue, but I remember that once in a while for like a day, I'd wake up and it'd take a while and it would just go away. But so I had swollen tongue. I guess didn't
Yeah.
keep me. Yeah.
So it's definitely your systems. And then, there's a whole crowd that wakes up and there's a whole industry that sells you tongue scrapers. Well, they're just scraping away the evidence of the crime. What's the crime? Something's going on in the body. Okay.
Gotcha. I don't know, just comes and goes. It didn't, I never really paid it. Well, I did notice it, but again, it didn't stick around long enough for me to be concerned. But this is stuff I noticed that there were some other pictures and you were looking like underneath people's tongues and there's like, like blood or purpley blue and all that kind of stuff. What does that tell you?
So there's different levels of basically a stagnation of the blood, a lack of oxygen, a lack of flow. If you were to go to an acupuncturist, they might use the terms you need to move your chi or your energy. It's the same thing as saying you got to move the blood. And so when I look at that on people, I kind of liken it to like an LA freeway. Okay. So underneath the tongue, yes, you have veins and capillaries, et cetera, there. But, I have them in my arm, but I don't see those, right? So under there, I'm not supposed to see that color in there either. It's supposed to all be kind of fleshy colored, like the same color as your gums. So when those colors show up in there, when it shows up in the veins, that has to get moving. So when I don't see those colors, it's like a fast moving LA freeway. That blood is just flowing through your body really nicely. Like a LA freeway, zip, zip, zip. Those cars are just going. But when I see the color in there, we now might have a 5 to 10 car pileup. Okay. So we've got to clear that out, that pileup. So typically that's also very much related to the heart, very much related to the liver. So we've got to clean those organs up. And, I've had people come to me where it was so bad. I had this one gentleman say, I'm very athletic. I jump out of planes. I have this very busy life. He was in his 70s. I can picture him still to this day. And when I looked under his tongue, I was absolutely like horrified isn't the word, but just in fear for his life. Okay. And so I told him it was pretty serious. And I said, don't go running a marathon, slow it down a little bit. And so we talked, we put together a protocol that, he was happy moving forward with. And then he quit 30 days later because he just was like, no, I don't need all this. I'm fine. Well, a matter of months later, I want to say January, February, March, he had a stroke. And these are the things that I had seen underneath of there. So if I see it and I know that it's critical level, like really people should pay attention, slow down. I've had people go and verify it with their medical doctor when I thought for sure they hit through all the signs of verge of a heart attack. And they went in and they got stress tests in the doctor's office and literally had a heart attack right there within 3 days of me telling them. And they called me and they said, Dr. Shannon, you saved this one woman. You saved my husband's life because he went and had a test, had the heart attack right there. Yeah. You were right. You saw it. So it's real deal. The signs are there.
It's just hard. Again, a lot of people, they just they don't know how to take this. They take it as, I don't know. Again, I've become more open to this because I'm starting to, I think Western medicine is great if you need emergency surgeries and you break something, but I'm really getting to believe that, that getting to you seem to get, to the root of the symptoms and not just cover them up, and then figure out how to treat them as opposed to, they have a protocol. It's like, okay, your blood work says you got this, so we have to give you this. And I'm really getting pretty anti on that. I respect them. That's what they do. But I question everything now.
Yeah, people need to question everything. And when I say that they went into our medical schools and they took our remedies, we'll just use like an aspirin, as an example. The remedy, the natural remedy for pain or a headache or something like that, it's still a Band-Aid, but was white willow bark. Okay. Just came from the bark of the tree, ground down, dried out, made into a powder. Boom. You could put it in a drink, didn't matter. They took that and created something a few degrees off and turned it into a pill, and they sell it all over the world, Tylenol and things like that. Okay. Things that now have to have a prescription when it came from the natural white willow bark.
They synthesized it, and I get that. I mean, I see that with everything, but I don't know. I want to show you another picture real quick, because again, I just went through some of your stuff, and this one really intrigued me, because I see lots of people, and I just attributed this to age, but you have a picture right here of an upper lip that's kind of shrivelly, I guess is what you would call it. Would you? So what's the deal with that?
So do you have the before? Do you have the after or anything like that?
No, I'm sorry. I think this is the before, right?
Okay. So this right here is a sign. This woman had a horrendous digestive issue. And this does happen to, I don't normally talk about the areas, but this does happen to fall into the stomach area of the body. So, smokers will say, well, that's how I look. But so then I'll double verify it and cross-check it with other parts of the body. So I don't just look at one area and chalk that up to what they're saying, smoking and doing that for 40 years. Yes, you can get wrinkly in there, but also there's issues of the stomach in there. So we have all kinds of digestive issues, Crohn's disease, diverticulitis, leaky gut, those types of things. It can show right there, and it'll double verify in another location on the body. And so there's no guess involved. And then there is back and forth communication with the client to see what's going on. I don't look at that and go, they have leaky gut, or they've got Crohn's. Okay. It's not like that. But I'll say, looks like you have a digestive issue. And then I'll cross-check it and make sure that indeed I see the second sign, which is actually something that would have shown up before it did, like that on the mouth. So those types of things are super reversible in the body in almost every single case. And by the way, when something makes it to the face like that, there was lots of signs ahead of time. Could have been pain, could have been, there were certain foods that just absolutely made their body complete fall apart, intestinal issues, all kinds of stuff. Could be constipation, could be diarrhea, could go either way. But that person had issues long before that started to look like that.
What about, because I when you say digestive issues, people that get their gallbladder removed, does that occur? I mean, have a lot to do with something like this? Yeah,
there are certain things that have been around since the dawn of time, that if somebody has a stone, for example, in the gallbladder, the medical community, unfortunately, says the only way to handle that is to go remove that gallbladder. And people are fast and furious, and people will argue with me about this. But I've had people en route to the ER knowing that it was a gallbladder issue. And I said, do you have a chance to run home first? And do you have this in your arsenal? And if the answer was yes, I said, it wouldn't hurt you to pop about 5 or 6 of those right now. And have you ever heard how you would get rid of a jellyfish sting?
Sure.
Do you know how to do it?
I don't know. The old fable I heard was you pee on it.
That's right. So you pee on it and it just literally melts it down. And in seconds, you won't even know that you had that burn. Gone.
Right.
That's the way it is for gallbladder stones with certain natural remedies.
You pee on them?
It's not pee, but it goes that fast is my point. So gallbladders that they say can't be saved, there isn't one person that came to me, even people in the emergency room. I just say, calm down, calm the situation down, step back a minute. You're already on painkillers. Ask the doctor for this. Or, it was cedar cyanide. a holistic chef that was sitting in there in an emergency situation. I said, ask the doctor if he has this. If he does, take that in abundance, and you'll be out the door in a matter of an hour. And they said, we don't have it. For 7 days, they told him they didn't have it. They ganged up on him with 8 different doctors telling him they didn't have it. And he finally said, I'm out of here, like in the 7th or 8th day. On his way out the door, they gave him a week's supply of it. They had it the whole time.
What does it get rid of the gallstones, or just ease?
Yeah, melt them down, just like.
Oh,
yes.
really? Wow. See, doctors got to make their car payments.
Exactly. My little remedy cost a few dollars. It definitely does. But we're talking less than 50.
And no surgery.
No surgery, keep that gallbladder, which is very important to the whole digestive process.
Yeah, see, I used to believe like your appendix and things, and they go, well, you don't really need that, but I guess you kind of really do. You can live without it, but it's best to keep what your parts, because they're there for a reason. They just weren't an accident, I guess.
Yeah. And for the number 1 cause of death is heart-related issues. 2 is cancers, and 3 is the medical doctors screwing things up. So there was a story years ago. It was unbelievable. A woman who had just given birth. She was diabetic, had neuropathy, all this stuff, which, by the way, that's reversible.
Neuropathy or diabetic?
Both.
Really?
Okay. And usually in about 4 to 6 months. So some people take a little bit longer. And I'm talking type 2, by the way. And there is a lot of misdiagnosis for type 1, which I'll explain that. But this woman goes in to have a leg amputated because she had neuropathy so bad. She had a newborn baby. They amputate the leg, find out after it was the wrong leg.
How do you do that?
Right. They go in again and amputate the other leg. Now, this is a brand new mother now with no legs. Can you imagine?
I can't.
And nobody went to jail over that, by the way.
Yeah, well, you can't sue them anymore. I mean, otherwise, you're signing away all your rights. And I mean, I've heard of mistakes. That's why they draw pictures on your body when they're going to do something, before they operate. But man, oh man, neuropathy. You're telling me that neuropathy is like doable.
If you notice, I'll put that caveat just so nobody can come at me. But in most every case, I haven't had one yet. It wasn't. We'll say
my mom suffered from that. She lost her ability to walk, and God, I would have given anything to, because she just said my legs feel like logs. She lived to 93 years old, so yeah, but she was, everything changed when she lost her ability to walk, like it would, and you're that old, and and believe me, we were looking for answers, but if you don't know where to look, that's the problem. Who would have thought? And I'm learning these things now, many years later, unfortunately, but it is what it is. At least, better late than never, I guess, for somebody.
Yeah.
Let me keep moving forward, because we're going to be here a while. Well, it's just good stuff. Things that people I know are wanting to hear. Fingernails. These are important, because I used to see this a lot too. It's like, what do you see when you're looking at somebody's fingernails?
Okay. So, we should have half moons on 4 out of 5 fingernails on each hand. If you don't have half moons, which this one, maybe there's a little bit of one. I can't blow these up totally, but maybe there's a little bit on one, not on the other.
I'll give you a close one.
Yeah, there we go. And look at all the ridging and the striping.
Yeah, the striping. What's that all about?
Yeah, there's, I would want to cross-check it, but there's probably some osteoporosis going on in the body. Also, the coloring on this, it's very light. So I would want to see what was going on with other organs in the body. And those organs will show on the tongue. They'll show up on the face. So I would cross-check to make sure I am cornering this down to the proper organ, because there's different ways this can go. So the fingernails can show hormonal. It can show very specific nutrient deficiencies. It can show kidneys, liver, definitely heart is in there, internal bleeding. The chance of cancers will show up in fingernails. Now, I can never say you have cancer or somebody has cancer. I can say I see the signs of the cancer. Okay. And then I would send them to the medical doctors to get tested to have some blood work, and just verify, is it or isn't it?
What's the purpose of, because I kind of took you off of the half moon thing. I mean, what's the correlation in that? I mean, what that needing
When
to
we
happen?
don't have them, it can start to, well, it's definitely deficiency. Okay. Most of the population is malnourished. And when I say that, it's because we have to have those 60 minerals, the 16 vitamins, the 12 amino acids, the 3 essential fatty acids, and they have to all be very clean, no synthetics, no fillers. Okay. The EFA is an oil, so it has to be processed proper.
What's EFA?
Just like the cooking oils,
Uh-huh.
how they're exposed to oxygen.
Yeah.
So if your fish oil is exposed to oxygen as well, it's no good. So when you think about all of the EFA that even the government prescribes in the nursing homes, in the hospitals, if they're giving that to somebody, do you think that they processed it okay? You believe it?
They're just buying whatever they're buying.
Correct. Probably out of China. Nothing I would take.
See,
So the fish oil that I take, so this is how particular I am and what I give to my sons, my parents, my siblings. So the fish oil is caught in a cold Icelandic water, clean, cold. When they catch it, instantaneous flash freeze. They go down into nitrogen filled rooms, no oxygen. These guys are on oxygen. Okay. And then they extract the oil out of the fish liver and they immediately encase that oil. It's gel cap encased. The bottle that it goes in is even sprayed out with nitrogen to make sure there is no oxygen in there. And then they put it in there and they seal it all up. That is the only kind of oil that we can have. And by the way, these rotten rancid oils are also in the almond milks, the coconut milks, and that's why those things are not okay. Every single person that's drinking these things or eating the fried foods or the foods cooked in all these rotten rancid oils, they just climb higher and higher and higher on the cardiovascular list. And that's why it's number one cause of death. That's why that's probably one of the biggest industries in this country and multiple countries, because those oils and those oily oils that are exposed in these other foods are getting in there. Think about every coffee shop that has, do you want almond milk in there? Do you want coconut milk in there? That's the seed that's been cracked open and the oil is there.
Okay, this leads me down this road because as being healthy, I have a very broad spectrum of people in my life.
Okay.
People that are very wealthy and people that are very poor, you know, day by day. They're literally living, especially in the economy and the way we are right now. I mean, it's week to week, day by day, month to month.
Mm-hmm.
Being healthy, unfortunately, is super expensive to be healthy. Like, you know, and even going to like do insurances. I don't even think insurances cover somebody like you, do they?
Okay, so I chose years ago. They do and they don't. So some of the insurances will have a kind of like you get a benefit and you can spend it however you want if you want to put it towards holistic. Okay. But can I submit a bill to them? No. And years ago, I had a choice. And remember, I had a little bit of a background in law. I definitely knew law enough to get myself in trouble, if you will. And so there is licensed naturopaths and there's certified naturopaths. A licensed naturopath can have their license yanked if they say something that that world doesn't agree with. They're yanking videos on YouTube if the WHO doesn't agree.
Yeah.
Okay. I've already had one yanked.
Oh, they're assholes. That's why.
Yeah. So did I want to play in that world with the licensing gods above me that could yank it and throw me in jail because I said something they didn't like? Absolutely not. So I intentionally chose to go the certified route so that nobody could take away from me what I worked for and earned. And I still went above and beyond in my education, even more so than medical doctors. Because if you look at them with less than 1 hour of nutritional studies, what are they doing in the field with just 1 hour? So I took my education far and beyond what the average licensed or certified naturopathic doctor does. So I've definitely done my diligence. I have surrounded myself by the experts, the parasitologists, the oncologists. So both sides of the world, the acupuncturists, all of it. And so can I submit a bill as a certified naturopathic doctor? Maybe never in this lifetime, maybe, but I don't care, because I'm going to always do what I'm going to do. I'm going to treat you like my brother. I'm going to treat my clients like my mother, my father, my siblings, etc., my kids, the most important people on the planet. And I defy you to find too many doctors that you walk in there and they say that, or they spend the kind of time with their client that I do.
No,
So,
see, I'm not, I don't, there's no denying that. My whole point is that there's people that believe in what you do.
yeah.
And can't go because they can't afford it, because they might even be lucky enough to have a job that will have insurance, but insurance won't let them do that. They want to send them to a regular doctor to go throw some pills at them and pay 5 times the amount of money that, in the United States, or 10 times that they do in Europe or someplace else for the same stuff, just, to go through that process, because it's such a racket, I guess, is my problem.
Well, I'll tell you, just in the last couple of months, I became intentionally affiliated with a gentleman by the name of Phil Chrysler from the Chrysler family. And he started a company, grassroots, made in America, and it is the insurance of the future. It's actually not insurance, but it behaves like it. And, someone like me doesn't have to have an insurance license to talk about it or to promote it. And I use it with my clients, and they are embracing. They're the only company ever that has embraced holistic methods to the degree that they're doing. And I'm meeting with Phil Chrysler in person to even talk to him about accepting things from people like me. So if my clients spend so much on nutrients, they're going to be able to deduct that off of what they call a deductible. It's a health sharing program, like a MediShare, like the Christian-based one, but those had like crazy amounts of rules. This one doesn't have that. And they have deductible is probably the wrong term, but let's say you're a family of 4. And in a family of 4, if you have like a Blue Cross, each family member is going to have maybe a $7,000 deductible. In this one, it's the whole family shares in one deductible, not times 4. And it doesn't matter if you have 20 kids, they can all be on your plan, and you just pay that one deductible. It's the first of its kind. And there's many doctors, medical doctors, holistic doctors, like me, that were ostracized during the lockdowns. I was a 8-year affiliate, Fox affiliate talk show host. And in March of 2020, after 8 years, they killed my platform.
Shocking.
They killed the show.
Yeah.
I was not allowed to speak out. They cut my knees off from under me. And so that's fine. I found this, and now this group is going to allow my clients in the future to be able to deduct off what they spent. So there is a way around it, and it's in the works. And if anybody wants that, call the toll-free number and we'll set them up on that, because even the monthly payments are like so inexpensive compared to the big guys.
Again, I speak, it's like not a devil's advocate, because I'm speaking for the people who are not as blessed with, not worrying about where their next dollar comes from. But, they're a human being that deserves every right to live a happy, healthy life as
Absolutely.
well as anybody else. And
Absolutely.
you were talking about that multivitamin that you have, and you said it's super clean. And in my head, I'm going, I'm sure it is, but you go to Walmart for these $10 vitamins here and there, and they're crap. But how much does, because I believe I was into something that was a real high anti-inflammatory from this mangosteen thing years ago in Thailand, the mangosteen, and they were getting the xanthones out of the whole fruit, it was the rind, everything. And
I know Aaron Garrity personally. We text all the time. Yeah.
Well, I was pretty tight with a good bit of them, because my mother was suffering from all kinds of stuff like that too, and I had a buddy had migraine headaches, and he started on that. We're really close, and we've been through in bands together, and I mean, we're very close. And his migraines went away after 6 weeks, so it really built up this whole thing. But I found that it was expensive and it worked, but people would say, you know what, I can't do it. I'm really, really strapped on money. And then next week they're going to Talladega, going to the damn NASCAR races or whatever. People spend money where
Priorities.
they want to. Yeah. And because they expect instantaneous, and if it costs that kind of money, they're going, I don't know, they'd rather smoke cigarettes, but I don't, again, it's expensive to be healthy. This is the problem. And they haven't made it any easier, even when you have solutions to it, because they don't have any kind of insurance that can take care of them.
Well, there's a saying, and you've maybe heard it, or your audience has heard it. You spend all of your health chasing wealth, and ultimately then you spend all of your wealth chasing your health. I would much rather spend on my nutrients today than be suffering with those legs that are like logs later, or battling a horrendous cancer, or battling, fill in the blank. I don't want to live like that. I want to be healthy. I want to walk through this life with my body together as much as I possibly can make that happen.
I'm with you. But a lot of people are in the here and now, and they're just, life has just got a grip on them, and they can't afford to pay attention, and so they
can't
just
save them all. It's unfortunate.
Unfortunately,
cannot save them all.
Let's face it. I mean, it used to be, not now, but you could go to McDonald's and get dollar burgers and things like that, and it was a 2 liter of Coca-Cola was 99 cents. It was more for a bottle of water than Coke, and so that you kind of just fall into that whole thing. It just is what it is, and it's disastrous in the long run, but you don't realize that until it's too late sometimes, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
I
want to go ahead.
I want to save them all too. And believe me, I, like probably many doctors out there, we pick and choose, but I've done uncountable amounts of pro bono work and given back to the community. And we have to, at some points, draw the line, because not everybody is in that situation, but we do the best we can. And if I had to say how much pro bono I have done in my career, I would say it spans more than 7 figures. So we give back where we can. And I don't know that every doctor's like that, but
not all, but there are some good ones out there, thank God, still. But you can't. You're right. You can't. There's just too many people. Let me ask you something. What are some of out of all the people you treat, what would you say one of the top ailments are that you deal with the most? That's the most common, the most pain in the ass thing that you have to take care of for people's health that they come to you for?
Well, let's just go with what's going on today. The cancers really are fast tracking. And I will say the prostate cancers are fast tracking in the men like I've never seen in my entire career.
Prostate cancer? Prostate?
Prostate.
Okay.
Prostate, yeah. And most of the time they are reversible. But sometimes you guys, I don't know what it is, you say things to me like, well, I had enlargement. When did it start? Oh, probably a year ago. When at the first sign, people need to be reaching out. And just always remember that medical doctors are in the business of disease management. They're only going to give you a drug, and they say things like, well, we're going to watch this. And they watch it fester and grow. That's not what we want. That's not what a naturopath is going to do. It's not what I'm going to do. And just so people know, there is no walk-in clinic for me here in Miami. Everything is pictures online, and that's how I'm able to be in 18 different countries. I'm looking at pictures from all over the world. But heart issues are number one cause of death for a reason, and it's probably the number one thing that comes across my desk. The prostate cancers are super on the rise. Hormonal issues are in most everybody, and bioidenticals are not the answer. Not. The body does not like synthetics.
What is a bioidentical?
It's just a fake. Okay, think about it like this.
A treatment, a pill or something.
Yeah. Okay. So it's usually an injection, goes in kind of above your rear into your lower back. Or some people take it other ways. But when somebody has, let's say, a kidney transplant, they have to give that person an anti-rejection med so that the brain doesn't see that as, hey, that's not mine, and reject it. And it'll be a failed surgery, transplant. So a bioidentical is the same way. A synthroid is the same thing. A metformin is the same thing. They're just Band-Aids of these problems. Okay. The blood pressure meds, the cholesterol med, these are just Band-Aids. They're tricking the brain to, think you're okay. And it gives you like this little regular kind of feeling like, hey, I'm all right. But they're not getting to the root cause. They're not fixing that issue. And that issue they'll medicate you to the grave, is my point. They'll take you all the way to the grave.
Wow. Yeah.
And never have fixed your issue.
We tried.
Yeah.
And and people
they didn't try. That's the thing. They didn't try.
The thing is, look, one of the biggest things, and I've lost people to cancers of all type, from brain cancers to, and the thing is, they're going, well, you know what? I got a great relationship with my oncologist and all that. I mean, they're believing because they have, you have to believe and feel good about these people have your life in your hands to either help you live longer or live at all. And, and that's it. That's all you've got, or. So what do you got to hope that somebody's caring about you, but at the end of the day, it's like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, got to go home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
A
naturopath will answer their phone later usually.
No, I
take 1 day off a week. That's it.
You're a workhorse. So God bless you, because again, I know a few doctors like that. They'll make the call that they find something and you don't even have an appointment, and they're calling you going, listen, I just happened to be going over something. And I think that's amazing, because you don't see that nowadays. Everybody, and the system is broken. They're overloaded. They're now, I know doctors, especially in Pensacola. I got one that was my parents' physician. He left the business, and he wasn't that old, because it was so political, the insurances and all that. He owns a damn brewery now with his son, and it's like,
he's happier.
Life is short. It's like, but the business to be a doctor is getting so difficult, as many different things to be teachers and stuff like that. Nobody wants to do it anymore. It's like, hell, it's not worth it, which sucks. It sucks. I want to go to this, and then, because we're really running late, but I want to touch on this. You believe, and so do I, in stem cell repair treatments and things like that, but it's very weird for people to hear that, because the word stem cell and all that. You want to touch on that for me a little bit?
Yeah. It's so funny, because you mentioned Aaron Garrity. He used to own the Mangosteen company, and he and I just had this conversation about stem cells. And we both had that little funny feeling about it years ago, because we always thought that the stem cells were all coming from aborted babies. And that was actually not even true at all. Right. I don't even know how all of that came up. I don't have a background in anything that has to do with aborted babies, but I'm actually the only referring doctor with the Stem Cell Medical Center in Antigua. So my link there is stemcellmedicalcenter.com/RS, short for Randi Shannon. And you'll see like a picture there with all my information, and there's a form. They give you a free consultation. So what they do is they take the stem cells, and they did this actually pre-lockdown. I won't say that word so that we can stay on air and not get, jammed on that word. But they had the stem cells then. Okay. So there was no chance of all this stuff from 2020.
Yeah.
And they take it from perfectly healthy newborn babies, placentas, and the umbilical cords, the cord blood. And so they take those stem cells and they put them in a gel, and they continue to grow and replicate. So the group in Antigua, they put something like 25 million cells per injection, whereas in America, they have somewhere around an 80% failure rate, and they do about 1 million. Don't quote me 100% on all this, but it's pretty close. They put about 1 million per injection, because there's laws here that prevent them from putting the 25 million. So it's very clean. The mothers didn't take those, jabs, and they're coming from newborn healthy babies. If those babies were born with any defect whatsoever, that was not where it was taken from. So
there's a lot of wordplay right now, because again, a lot of people don't know a lot about it, but I've been listening to people, and I even Joe Rogan, he talks about some friends of his he's got that are down in Mexico doing this stuff, and he's had it done. And, and I know there's a doctor that I listen to a lot that's in Beverly Hills, who, and it's all about how you do the procedure, what you're using for the procedure. But my bottom line is, I believe this stuff literally really does avoid surgeries and helps you fix shoulders and knees and things like that. And a lot of people just don't know much about it, and they're very skeptical. But and again, insurance isn't really touching it that much right now. So you're either wealthy enough to, or blessed enough to be able to pay for something like this, or you just don't do it, and they talk you into a surgery that's not even needed. That's where that's where we live. That's life.
Let's take knees for an example. Somebody is thinking about a knee replacement. I don't think people understand that is an amputation.
Big time.
Right. They cut you and break that apart.
Yeah.
They scrape it all out. They take out any remaining cartilage, anything that would be in there. And then they put it back together with screws and pins and titanium.
Yeah.
What I do with my clients is give the proper nutrients if they're patient to regrow. The body will regrow cartilage. And all these doctors will say, oh, you can't do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And it's verifiable by x-ray. And we've had people do this. Many people do this. You get the x-ray at 6 months. Those doctors are like, I can't believe you still have cartilage in there, or you got new cartilage. And my clients have actually compared it to their x-rays where there was no cartilage. And these doctors don't want to hear it. So the one way is take the nutrients and do it more slow. 6 months to a year, you're going to be in great shape. If you want the quicker remedy, then you go to Antigua, to the place where I represent, and you get the injection, and that's very quick. They're very, very quick.
I truly believe in that stuff, but and Antigua, that sounds like a vacation.
It is a vacation, 5-star resort, sun, beach. Yeah, can't beat
I've been down in those areas, Barbados and Venezuela's and all that. I mean, not Venezuela, Trinidad, and the waters are nice. That's all I can say.
It's gorgeous down there.
Yeah,
Trinidad, Tobago. That's always like same temperature year round. No hurricanes. They avoid it all. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's nice, but again, it's unfortunate. You have to be blessed enough to be able to afford these things. But even the people that can't afford them, if you don't know it's there, you take care of yourself, the wrong way. So that's why we're talking about this stuff.
Exactly.
Look, I want to tell everybody, because we are, again, I got a ton of questions I can't get to, which is all the more reason why I need to have you back again down the road, because we're just running out of time. But I want to tell everybody, if they want more information on you, they want to talk to you, they want to get a hold of you, they want to see more about what you do and all, because again, the body is so complex, and we only talked about, a handful of things.
Exactly.
But they can find you at your website. You have a website, www.thebodycan.com.
Yep.
And you have a direct phone number too. It's 844-275-1056, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
So they can
and there's
find
no
you.
surprises. If they go to the Bodycan, CAN, as in the body can heal itself. So if they go to thebodycan.com/schedule, they can see the different packages and the breakdowns and figure out what they want. And they can get scheduled right there. They put themselves on my calendar, and I work around that.
Yeah, well, I think that this show is going to live on and feed a lot of people some great knowledge.
Let's do it.
Because right here, it's like Mr. Positive just said, your fan club, this was a great listen, so.
Alex, he runs a podcast that I'm on every Monday with one of the greatest doctors in the world. So Alex, thank you for listening. I'm not sure how he found it, whether it was yours, he's a listener, or for the first time ever, I've tapped into the lives on some of my social media.
There you go. So again, the gift that keeps on giving, I feel, I told you, I said, I love people who can take the time to watch live. I love that. But I find that it's a snowball. The shows just grow as time goes on, and people share, because the little clips and things like that, if people find certain topics interesting, they want people to know. It's like, hey, you need to check this out. And I'm saying, hey, you need to check this out, because you're a
Awesome.
plethora of information. You've been absolutely wonderful, even with the communication that we have had to get back and forth and to getting you onto the show. I wish I had you sitting next to me in person, but I'll be working on that because I'm poor and we have to do it like it's hard to get people, it's hard to get people flying around all over the place. It's a small knit circle here. COVID really changed a lot of things, and but fortunately, I was already in position and ready to be just like everybody else does now. But I love in person. I don't know. I feel the energy when I have somebody sitting next to me talking about this stuff.
Yeah,
So,
I've been doing a lot of traveling in the last year. I was just literally in Nashville over the weekend. So, you know, I'm coming back out a lot more in this last year than I had been previous. So, yeah,
well,
it's been fun.
Yeah, a lot of work, a lot of tiresome traveling and things like that. I spent a good portion of my life on planes and things like, and now I'm kind of out of it. But you know, this does require, you can't sit still and expect everybody to come to you. You got to go to them sometime. That's it. All right, listen, I want to thank you again for taking the time. I know it's you're ahead of me in hours over there in Miami, considering we're on opposite sides of the country. But I thank you for everything you've given everybody, including myself, for this show. And I hope people go and look up Dr. Randi Shannon at thebodycan.com, or if you know, after you look, there's a number right there and it's on the website. You can get a hold of her and she can turn you on to all the things that you need to do to live longer and better, including myself. You got me really thinking about that whole inflammation thing. So we'll be talking.
We'll get you fixed up, Peter.
I need fixing up. This body's gone through a lot through the years, you know, but still here, and I'm grateful for it because I want to live to be really old like my parents were. That's my goal. You know, I got one child, as I told you.
You should be 125, 140, living there, dying, or you know, living and laying in bed, dying of nothing.
My father always said the first 100 years is a bitch. After that, it's, you know, smooth sailing. So
awesome.
You know,
I love it. I love it.
All right, thank you. I love you for being on the show. Just wave goodbye to everyone. One last big look at the one and only Dr. Randi Shannon doing all this naturopathic health right there. Go to her website, talk to her, find out more about her, and that's it. All right, I love you for doing this. Talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
There you go. Huh? Woo! Gets better with age. Smooth. What did I tell you? She's awesome, huh? Because here at the Peter G Show, we spare no expense. I hope you take all this information and really last look. There's her website right there, thebodycan.com. There's a phone number, or just watch the show again. You can write it down. I really believe in this stuff, and that's why I like, you know, I mean, last week we're, you know, from one extreme talking about the fires of Maui that I'm all over the map, but it's things that concern life. It's things about life that are very important to me, that should be important to you. Next week, I'll be bitching about things that are in our daily lives going on around us. Some of you may be oblivious to things, but I'm here to bring it to light. Love me or hate me. That's what I do. But I do want to thank you for signing on and watching for any time that you're picking this up. Don't forget, I love the guys and the people that can watch live, but everything's on demand once it's over. We're on 11 different platforms. If I get bumped from any certain platform like this one, I'm expecting it this year. It will happen. It's close, but I'll keep going. If I get bumped from these guys, don't worry. We're on a bunch of other ones. You just keep Googling Peter G Show. You'll find it. And also, I know it takes a lot of dedication and work to make yourself available to sit and watch an hour-plus show, but fear not, because all you have to do is Google Peter G Show podcast. You can put an earbud in your ear while you're driving, commutes in most of these cities. I know people that sit in their cars for 45 minutes to 2 hours a day, each way going to work. God bless them, because you'll never get me doing that again. But you can listen to the podcast. It's the next best thing to being there. We're on 26 different, all your majors. So it's easy to find your iTunes, your Spotify's, your Amazon Music's, whatever. The shows are all there. So you'll get something. I try to make all these shows pretty relatable to where even if you're not watching, everything translates well most of the time. Sometimes I show videos that you really need to watch, but tonight was especially a versatile show. I don't think there's anything here other than a few pictures that I showed of tongue and nails and things like that you can't understand what's going on by listening. So please make sure you go and find these places and subscribe. I need the help, please. Life's a bitch, but that doesn't stop me from bringing this stuff to you every week. So thank you. All right. Again, don't forget, next week, just you and me. We're going to be, I'm going to be talking about current events, and you're going to either agree with what I say, or you're going to tell me to go screw myself. You know, it's just the way it is. I mean, I can't please everybody, but I'm going to bring it out there. And if you're willing to listen, which so many are, so I keep on going, I'm doing it for you. We're just doing it. All right. So join me next week, which is, what's the date on next week? It's the 24th. Got to look. Next Wednesday, April 24th, just you and me. Might even open up the phone lines. If you got something you want to agree or disagree with me, I more than welcome you as always. And that's it. My name is Peter G. I want to remind you also, for the last thing, as always, to be kind. Life really is a bitch. It's very fast moving. It's tough getting by. People are struggling, and they're not making it any easier on us. So I want everybody to just take a deep breath. Think before you bark. I'm living proof. Working on it every day. But you don't have to take a lot of crap from people. I'm not asking you, telling you to do that, but you don't have to be an ass either. Just take a deep breath. Believe me. Smiling is way better than crying, and it's just not worth it. So take a deep breath. Live life. It's worth living. Do the best you can, and we're here for you. All right? My name is Peter G. I want to thank you for watching Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday, like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast. And always, God willing, I leave you with this as always. I love you guys, and peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.